So when it comes to this plant we call corn, 20,000 years ago it looked like a grass called teosinte. 5,000 years ago it looked like this, and today it looks like this. Weirdest looking grass ever. Humans figured out how to make all that change happen. How? Corn sex. Here's how corn sex works. Up top are the tassels.
Tassels. At the top of the corn.
The flowers on the tassels are the male part of the corn, and the pollen they release is like sperm. Among the leaves, at the end of every husk, we find the silks. Silks are the female part of the corn, each silk leading to a specific kernel, which is like an embryo of sorts. Each corn plant is both sexes. So the pollen drops on the silk, which pollinates a kernel, creating the part of corn we eat or plant to grow an exact copy of its parent plant. There are so many kinds of corn because when pollen moves from one plant to another, the cross-fertilized kernel will be a random mix of both its parents, just like we are. And it happens all the time, I guess, thanks to wind and bugs and people. So 20,000 years ago or so, humans noticed all this happening and put that observation to use, one planting after another. And those early indigenous people from the Americas scientifically, through trial and error, took us from teosinte all the way to the modern corn that we depend on so much. Okay, but if corn never existed in some idealized form in the past, and it's dependent on human intervention, is it natural? And what about carrots or broccoli? Is all this stuff unnatural because we've selectively bred, or as my dad says, engineered it? And if engineering is the basis of pretty much all of the food we eat, then what does organic mean? Well, what's the reasoning behind there being a separation between organic and GM in the first place?
In some ways, it's almost an artificial distinction. And that's even more obvious if we talk about the use of mutagenesis.
Colin told me that over 3,200 plant varieties, lots of which are organic, were made by using mutagenesis. Mutagenesis means causing mutations to occur in the seed by exposing the seed to chemicals or some form of radiation,
and creates all these offspring. And then they look for certain offspring that have traits that are desirable.
Take a bunch of ordinary grapefruit seeds and bask them in gamma radiation. Grow grapefruit trees from those seeds. Some trees have redder fruit for some reason. No idea why, really? I guess no problem. Organic, ruby red grapefruit. And this is not what I thought natural meant.
What do you think it meant?
Well, I don't know, but if radiation and chemicals were involved, I kind of would have assumed it was on your side, the GMO side of things, and I just would not have expected to find chemicals, radiation in organic.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
If we can't measure food's quality by what we call it, and if natural is just something we made up, then how do we choose the right food philosophy? Raul Adamchak is an organic farmer who helped me put this all in perspective.
It's kind of a short-term luxury in a way to think about some of the finer points of the benefits of organic agriculture when in the bigger picture we have much more to be concerned about. You can't just want organic farmers to be more sustainable. You have to want all farmers to have the tools to become more sustainable farmers. And from what I can see so far, even with the limited number of genetically engineered crops, the growers have increased their level of sustainability.
Okay, we want all farmers to be more sustainable, but short-term luxury, what's he talking about? Oh, it turns out that this is how much food the world consumes, but this is how much food the world grows organically. That is a big split. So I can only argue for an all-organic world because I live right by an organic market and it wouldn't affect my day-to-day life, but pretty simple numbers prove I can't even have an all-organic world without starving a bunch of other people. Can we feed everyone sustainably?
Yes, but it will require genetically engineered technology.
I can't pretend we've really talked about this until we've seen how this conversation impacts people who don't have a voice we hear that often. Okay, Dad, I will grant you that this North American part of the GMO organic conversation is just a small part of what we need to talk about.
Well, now we're agreeing on something. I mean, really, Nick, if you try telling a Ugandan subsistence farmer that he can't access GMO because he should feel good by farming organically, then you'll understand why. I'm so passionate about this.
Yeah, I could not bring myself to do that probably, and there is way more to this organic thing than I assumed there was. So next episode, we take this conversation to the developing world, where this looks more like this. This is LEARN GMO.